Betul.
Hai Mary.
Tujuh. Apa sih? Herbal production.
Dek, mana punya mama yang itu dek untuk anak HP itu dek?
Assalamualaikum. Good morning, Prof. Nurdia. Kedengeran nggak, Bu?
Nilai baiknya mah.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Aini.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.
Thank you for joining in conference international.
Yeah.
I'm Fitri.
Hi Fitri.
Hi.
I can't see your face.
Yes. Dokter sehat ya?
Alhamdulillah sihat. Internetnya saja enggak sihat.
Alhamdulillah sehat. Mary, good morning Mary.
Hello, good morning.
Hi. Dr. Mary join for Flora Malaysiana in Brunei Darussalam too.
Yes,
Oh.
that is where we met.
Yeah.
And we kept in contact.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
I sent my student last time when the Flora Malaysiana conference.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, there were 3 of my students having presentation during that time.
Oh, that's a nice opportunity for students, actually.
Yeah. Because they are giving the scholarship for the student to give presentation at Brunei, right? So they get the opportunity to go there.
Yeah, but here we didn't get to offer the scholarship to our students. That's why the faculty were the ones that went.
Oh yeah.
And we're funded. Otherwise, it's all expensive.
Yeah, that's true. That's correct. Nowadays, everything is expensive.
True, true. That's why it's nice to have webinars like this.
Yeah, so we don't pay for flight, for accommodation,
Yes.
and we can meet each other from far.
But it's also exciting if we get to travel to see each other.
Yes, that's true. We have to. Sometimes we have to.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, Mary, you are from the the
Philippines.
academic, or from the Philippines.
Yes.
You are academicians, researcher.
Yes, I'm professor at
Oh, great.
the Department of Pharmacy at St. Louis University.
Okay,
Oh
great.
my God, I'm already introducing myself. Fitri is supposed to introduce me if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you very much to join conference international.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Aiman and Wani, your student?
Yeah,
Oh,
my PhD students, and now the Aiman is working with UPM, University of Putra Malaysia.
oh yes. But
So,
yeah,
yeah.
you Universitas Kebangsaan Malaysia too.
Yeah.
Oh. Aiman and Wani sudah pernah ke Pontianak.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Bila? Oh, what's the on the
Setelah
conference line?
Flora Malaysiana, saya
Oh,
mengajak beliau ke sini main.
inshallah, I will be go to Pontianak too. The name sounds scary, but the area must be lovely. Pontianak means something goes in Malaysia.
Yes, yes. And Akademi Farmasi YARSI juga MOU and UKM.
Oh, really? With faculty pharmacy.
Yes, farmasi.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
Semoga bisa bermain ke sana lagi ya, Dok.
Insyaallah. Nanti hari ini boleh tengok saya punya bidang kepakaran. It's quite different from pharmacist, but it is the basic for the pharmacist development lah, because we are from the pelantak taxonomies, which is start from identification of plant, then we see the cell structure and so on, the fundamental, the basic.
But I am not pharmacist. I'm plant taxonomy.
Oh, so we are similar.
Biology, yes, and biology.
Fikri, is it Fikri?
Yes. Fitri Sri Rizki.
Fitri. I'm so sorry, Fitri, because I'm so chaotic during the past 2 weeks with the launching of our Bangi Botanical Garden.
Yes.
And then we
Anatomy.
got, pardon?
Anatomy and morphology.
Oh, anatomy and morphology. It's quite similar with my field. So we can work together.
Yes.
Yeah, inshallah.
I'm Fresinetia Ceciliflora Rizky. You know, Doctor?
Who?
Pandanasi.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Pandan. Last time my PhD student, Dr. Azahana from University, International University of Malaysia, Islamic University of Malaysia.
Yes.
She did a study on the distribution of Pandanacea in Malaysia.
Yes.
And we did some anatomy work. It's really lovely. The structure in itself very lovely.
And kebetulan new species, saya menemukan new species Pandanacea is named Fresinetia Ceciliflora Rizky.
Oh, tahniah. So you got your own species now. Oh, that's great. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Fikri. Hello, Fikri.
Yes.
So the slideshow will be shared by you, right?
Okay. Yes. Operator akan share your PowerPoint.
Oh, okay, that's great. So saya mohon izin ya. Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, Japanese ceremony is going to start in a few minutes. Please be ready and seated. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellencies, distinguished guests, keynote speaker, participant, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon you. Good morning. We are delightful to welcome you to the first Academy Pharmacy YARSI Pontianak International Conference on Pharmacy, Future Perspective in the Transformation of Applicable and Marketable Research-Based Herbal Products. The Honorable Yayasan Rumah Sakit Islam Pontianak, Director of Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak, Chairman of PD PAVI West Kalimantan Barat, West Kalimantan, our keynote speakers, Associate Professor Dr. Nuraini Talib from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, the National University of Malaysia, Associate Professor Mary Lucy Piangan, Master of Science from St. Louis University, Philippines, and Professor Dr. Gusti Hardiansa, Master of Science from Tanjung Pura University, Pontianak, Indonesia. The entire academic community of Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak and all the international conference participants. We proudly present you the first Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak International Conference on Pharmacy with the theme Future Perspective in the Transformation of Applicable and Marketable Research Based in Herbal Products. This conference brings together academia, researchers, business entrepreneurs, and also the practitioner. We hope that this conference will develop insight and increase our knowledge in the fields of pharmacy and also pharmaceutical biology and also economic, and to develop the latest information in our field on biology, pharmacy, and also economic. This conference provides a great opportunity for prospective participants to share their recent theoretical knowledge and also research finding and expertise in dealing with sustainable information of research product of pharmacy which is marketable. As such, this conference will feature presentation by international speakers, which are cutting-edge session topic. Excellencies, distinguished guests, keynote speakers, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, we are going to listen to Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak theme song and Indonesia's national anthem, Indonesia Raya. We are sorry for the technical problem, and now we are going to listen to the opening speech delivered by the Director of Academy Pharmacy YARSI Pontianak, Ms. Apoteker Adisti Karisma Justisia, Master of Science. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Apoteker Adisti Karisma Justisia, Master of Science.
Okay, thank you, Miss Dina. My voice is clear?
Yes, your voice is clear already.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable Pontianak Islamic Hospital Foundation YARSI Pontianak, Chairman of the Regional PAVI West Kalimantan, speakers, Associate Professor Dr. Nur Aini Talib from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, Associate Professor Mary Luz Fiangan from St. Louis University, Philippines, Professor Dr. Gusti Hardiansa, Master of Science from Tanjung Pura University, Pontianak, Indonesia, the entire academic community of Academy Pharmaceutical YARSI Pontianak, all international conference participants. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome all of you to occasion of the first Academy of Pharmaceutical YARSI Pontianak International Conference with the theme Future Perspective in the Transformation of Applicable and Marketable Research-Based Herbal Products. The changing landscape of healthcare and pharmacy, the advancement of technology and social needs have influenced how pharmacy is taught and practiced. Therefore, it is not surprising that innovation in teaching pharmacy, improving students' capabilities, and managing educational institution of faculty or institution of pharmacy have increasingly become an important subject of discussion among pharmacy education stakeholders. The attempts to enhance the quality of education by School of Pharmacy are not only limited to the pace at which students learn in school, but it spans to which students work or practice as a professional. Beyond this continuum, School of Pharmacy also shoulder the burden as an agent of change in terms of research excellence and social contribution. Therefore, finding the most effective and comprehensive approach is the holy grail in pharmacy education. At the same time, the development of science and technology of the pharmaceutical system in medicinal plant cultivation technology has made it possible to develop plantation forests to support the lives of local communities. One of the plant groups associated with forest ecosystem is medicinal, cosmetic, and various healthy food and beverage products. Cultivation of technology, engineering, tools, socioculture, post-harvest, and industry for the development of various types of medicinal plant based on science and technology can support the development of farming, color farming to accelerate the development of plantation forests. The characteristic of various medicinal plants that support their growth to produce valuable products for the community provide an opportunity to develop with other plants in plantation forests in certain areas. However, this is still based on local socio-cultural influences that affect agricultural, plantation, and forestry ecosystem. Various benefits generated by medicinal plants' role in plantation forests are income, welfare, conservation of multiple resources, non-formal education, business sustainability, and employment and social security. Wise empowerment of plantation forest assets can help forest development programs in various regions in Indonesia, which includes effort to nourish national natural resources. To make this international seminar a success, Academy of Pharmaceutical YARSI Pontianak collaborates with various international campuses related to pharmacy, biology, and forestry. The seminar offers opportunities for synergies between network institutions and disseminating best practice in pharmacy, biology, and forestry education. The word synergy reflects the essence of combining strength and learning from the experience of others. It also highlights situations where neither side is one size fits all, and neither me nor you except us. The network that spans the Asia Pacific is an excellent opportunity to build and maintain the synergy. So, an international seminar with the theme Future Perspective in the Transformation of Applicable and Marketable Research-Based Herbal Product. Finally, I would like to thank you to all the speakers who attended today. It's an honor for me to meet you. I hope this seminar will be a great benefit to all of us. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I return to the moderator, Ms. Dina.
Thank you very much, our Director of Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak, Apoteker Adisti Karisma Justisia, Master of Science. Thank you for the opening speech. Okay, after the opening speech, we will continue our meeting to the next agenda, which is to hear the keynote speaker. But before that, I want to remind you that our international conference also, you can also watch the international conference live streaming in our official YouTube of Akademi Farmasi YARSI, YouTube official, to watch the live streaming of international conference. And also I want to remind you that don't forget, if you have any question, just write your question in the comment column, or you can directly deliver your question to the keynote speaker by click the raise hand button on YouTube, on Zoom meeting. Thank you very much. Now we are continuing our meeting to the next agenda, which is to hear the keynote speaker. Each presentation of the material will take time about 35 minutes, and then followed by 10 minutes of discussion, and then continue with a photo session and symbolic awarding of an e-certificate by the Director of Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak. Our first keynote speaker is Associate Professor Dr. Noraini Talib from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, the National University of Malaysia. Without any further ado, please welcome Miss Associate Professor Dr. Noraini Talib. Okay, before we start to hear the presentation from Dr. Noraini Talib, I want to read the curriculum vitae of Professor Dr. Noraini Talib first. As Associate Professor Dr. Noraini Binti Talib, Master of Science, the address in Department of Biological Science and Biotechnology, Faculty of Science and Technology, University Kebangsaan Malaysia in Bangi, Selangor. The curriculum vitae, the latest position of professor is head of Taman Botani Bangi, 7 August 2020 until 2023, and the Committee of Plant Systematic Program Revision from 2018 till 2023, Coordinator of Plant Systematic Master Science Program from 2018 till 2021, and Committee of Biology Program Revision from 2018 to 2021, Committee of Plant Systematic Program, COPA Audit from 2018 to 2021, Coordinator of Taman Paku Pakis 1st October 2008 until 13 September of 2014, and then her academic qualification is University of Reading, United Kingdom, Doctor of Philosophy in Botany, Plant Systematic, the latest from 2003 until 2006. Her publication, peer-reviewed journal article, total peer-reviewed journal article, about 33 articles, 64 articles from 2013 until present, and the total citation of her journal article is 193 Elsevier Scopus, and then 376 from Google Scholar. Age index of Elsevier Scopus is 8 and Google Scholar is 10. Corresponding author since 26 and co-author 37. Maybe that is the curriculum vitae of Professor Dr. Noraini Binti Talib, Master of Science. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Associate Professor Dr. Noraini Talib. Assalamualaikum, Professor.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to Miss Dina
It is
And
pleasure to meet you.
you too. Okay, first of all, I would like to apologize that I'm going to turn on the camera during the introduction, but then I have to switch on off the camera because it's so bad luck today. I got not internet at all at my home, and I'm just using the mobile data. So unlucky. So when it happens this morning. So a very good morning to everyone. And first of all, I would like to thanks to the organizer of the first academic pharmacy YARSI Pontianak International Conference on Pharmacy to give me opportunity to give a talk today. And good morning to ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to have the opportunity to share my sharing today. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all Muslim participants in this conference.
Waalaikumsalam
So
warahmatullahi
I have my slide, please. I have to introduce myself. There's a bit about me in the slide.
wabarakatuh. Pleasure.
The sharing slide, my slide,
Okay.
slide from my presentation.
Wait for a second. Maybe the operator can help Professor Nuraini to share screen
Sharing the slide.
the presentation.
Okay, this is the title that I've given. That the title I think that is not suitable with my talk, but then it's okay because it's a part of my sharing today. The authentication of herbal medicines plant, is it crucial? Okay, so my name is Nuraini Talib. Okay, the second slide, please. Okay. So my research specialization is specifically actually on in a plant anatomy, plant microbiology, and plant palynology. And then my previous study is mostly on the plant taxonomy and plant systematic. But recently I go further, which is I go to study the development of pathogen that give diseases to plant crops, such as in certain vegetables, to certain plant crop like paddy. The plant pathogen include the viruses, the bacteria, fungi, and so on. So the picture, the picture on the left side above is me now. So that's a bit chubby. I think that now it's quite slim. And the middle picture is me 20 years back in Radin University with my supervisor, Professor Dr. Frederick Cutler, the #1 plant anatomist in the world. And I'm so good lucky because during that time, it's just a few 5 years before he resigned from the, not resign, they're finishing the term with the Kew Gardens. And at the right above is my some of my students, some of my collaborators, and it's some of them. And the below one is my picture with the Malaysian Herbal Monograph, which is, this is the group for especially for the botany part, the taxonomy, the morphology, and also for the plant anatomy, plant microbiology, and plant palynology. So if you can see that most of them is my protege, is it my students. So when I came back to Malaysia in 2006, Alhamdulillah, I got a few students from the industry, from the FRIM, from the from other universities, that, and then my students go back to their institution to give services on plant anatomy. So nowadays in Malaysia, most of the plant anatomists and plant microbiology also and plant palynology is my student, my PhD or my master's student. So that's my contribution to my country and for the world for my research specializations. So that's a bit about myself. Okay, so before we go further, so I'm sorry that I have to switch off my camera because the light is not so great. Before I begin, I did my PhD in Dipterocarpaceae, in the most dominant family plant in world. I think the Southeast Asia, the Dipterocarpaceae. And nowadays I'm continuing my studies in other plant species, in the other plant family species. Okay. Okay, before we start, I would like to bring you to some facts about the scenario one. So let me start by giving you some background information about my presentation today. So regarding to the topic that future perspective in the transformation of applicable and marketable resource-based herbal product, I would like to emphasize on 3 issues, which is the challenges that we face, the forgotten aspect in herbal monograph, and the third one is preparing for future perspective for transformation of applicable and marketable research-based herbal product. And my point of view is more to the cases and issue that raised in Malaysia, but I think that's quite similar to other countries as well. Okay, so before that, we look at some facts. The WHO reported that the size of the global market for herbal product was USD 60 billion in the year 2000. And this is expected to grow 7% per annum towards USD 5 trillion by the year 2050. And then in many developed countries, the WHO estimates that 70 to 80% of the population has used some form of alternative or complementary medicines. Okay, and with an average growth rate at 5 to 20% per year. And in Malaysia itself, demands in the herbal related markets are also estimated to range between USD 40 to 100 billion. And the herbal industry in Malaysia is estimated to grow at a rate of 50% per annum. So we can see with this market value rising from USD 1.6 billion in year 2010 to some USD 6 to 9 billion by year 2020. We need to establish increasing Malaysian has to establish something to face this scenario. So that's why Malaysians established the Malaysian Herbal Monograph to cater certain needs for this progress. So the Malaysian Herbal Monograph especially have a few things a few things as a mission that intend to strengthen the supplies across the herbal value chain, especially in providing the scientific evidence and not based on claim. But people tend to say that this kind of species can be used to heal that kind of treatment or diseases, but it's only on claim. So we need to expand that. So we enhance research and development in herbs, such as to do some tests, to do the documentation, post challenges in the herbal monograph development. And also we're focusing on raw material. We're finding the issue related to raw material. And the main activity is assisting the herbal industry sector in their product preparation. We have to help the herbal industry sector to get some info, knowledge, guideline in their product preparation based on plant material. So our vision is transforming monographs to pharmacopoeia in the near future. Then I think that Malaysia is behind other country in Southeast Asia, because I think Indonesian have their Indonesian pharmacopoeia, British pharmacopoeia, we got Philippine pharmacopoeia, we got Indian pharmacopoeia, but Malaysian so far got about 4 volumes of monograph, and we are struggling to have our own pharmacopoeia within this year. So the next slide, please. The next slide, please. Okay, so what we do is we consist of selections, collection, and processing of raw material, identification tests. We do the quality control that includes purity and safety testing of herbal raw material, safety information and as toxicity tests, and so on. Related information such as traditional uses, pharmacological activities of herbal plants, and all the information and data gathered will be verified by Malaysian Herbal Monograph Committee. So this Malaysian Herbal Monograph Committee, we involve many government institutions, universities, other agency, and also with the industrial committees. So the next slide, please. So turning to our attention now to the three challenges that we face now is number one is sustainability of raw materials, complexity of identification tests, and lack of well-documented traditional data. So for the sustainable or raw materials, sometimes when the industry have begun with their product based on plant, the production stop just like that because there is no more raw material of lack of raw material provided for their industry. So this what the most sarcastic that this issue will lead to the using of additional raw material to the ingredients, and they will be totally illegal and reduce the efficiency of the herbal product and taint the authentication of the raw materials. So the first challenge need to be overcome before we go further into more research-based herbal in the market. So for number two, that the necessity tests like microscopy test, thin layer, chromatography, color test, purity test, this all kinds of tests cannot be done for all because it's time consuming. They need expertise and also a lot of money need to be consumed and that all kind of tests. And number three, it is about that the lack of documentation. The lack of when I go through all the documentation about the traditional issues, I think that the most the best documentation from the traditional users is from the Bekil, which is about 1955. It's a long time ago. So that's something that to be done. So for the sustainable of raw material, we have to plan the planning for systematic cultivation on a large scale, so that smart agriculture or the systematic cultivation can be used, can be cater all the raw material needed for the herbal industry. And for the complexity of the identification test, we need to create research groups that conduct studies so that the data that we get from the research study by the institutions, by the group of scientific researchers, scientists and researchers will be documentation, will be used as reference for the herbal based industry. That's why we have to develop more data in the monograph and also in the pharmacopoeia. And lack of well-documented traditional must be overcome with the publishing the monograph and pharmacopoeia. Okay, let's go to the next issue. So we forget about the issue that raised three issues in the future perspective in the transformation of applicable amicable research-based herbal. So we go for the forgotten aspect. So before that, let's see these three phrases. Okay, the WHO defined herbs as crude plant material covering different parts of plant in exist as whole, fragmented, or powder form. I bold every important words in the phrase. And herbal medicine consists of herbs, herbal preparation, and a mixture of finished herbal products that contain active ingredient from plant parts. And for herbal preparation, it is defined as finished herbal products that are produced by extraction, fractionation, purification, concentration, or other processes. And lastly is herbal medicine products are defined as any medical product exclusively containing an active ingredient, one or more herbal substances, one or more herbal preparation, or combination of two. So before the second, third, and fourth phrases came, the first phrase said that is the herb defined as crude plant material covering different plant parts. We use it as wool, fragmented or powder form. So I want to emphasize on the powder form. So I believe that in many country or in all country, most of the raw material of plant came in powder form. Next slide, please. So herbs in Malaysia have been used as traditional medicine and come in various forms. The powdered form, and then came the salve and ointments, pressed juice from fresh plant, alcoholic or water extract, tintinous, essential oil, and then spray dried powder. But all these come from the powder form. So what I would like to emphasize here is the form of raw material in powdered form. Okay, next slide, please. So how we know that the authentication of powder form of plant-based material? How do you know that you got the original, authentic powder form from the supplier? This question came when a few years back, I'm working with the industry with the producing medicine from the raw material. So we find that most of the raw material supplies by the supplier are being thinned or being mixed with other materials such as cocoa peat, sometimes with the grass, something not related at all with the raw material. And one way of doing it to make sure that you get the raw material, the authentic raw material, is by studies on the microscopic features of the powder form that's come in the what we are doing now. So me and my team now try to develop as much as possible the database on microscopic features of powder form of potential medicinal herbs in Malaysia. Maybe in future we can work together with the Southeast Asia. Maybe we got the same species. So when we can work together, so we can produce more volume, more database on the microscopic features of the raw material. So like example here, we have the Melastoma malabatricum, we call as senduduk in Malaysia. Yeah, that is reported that being used for the toothache and burns. Okay, so this is some part of the microscopic features of this plant species. So if you can see that some of the features is the common characters, like such as that the vessel, bite, like the presence of trichome, multiciliate trichome, dendritic trichome, anomocytic stomata. This is something very characteristic to the plant species. So when we get the raw material, which is have been grind very minute, so we don't know that is it authentic or not. We still prove that is it authentic or not by looking at their microscopic features. So such as multiciliate trichome and dendritic trichome not present in many species. So when we check under the microscope, so we know that it's possibility that the raw material you get is Melastoma malabatricum. So the next slide, please. This is Melastoma decipiderm, which we call it as senduduk putih, widely used as by Aborigine or indigenous for the hemorrhoids. So when we look under the microscope, we can see that they only got just some very special characteristic, which is simple flattened trichome, which is not occur in many species, even in the genus Melastoma. And also some characters like adruces give some sign that this is this raw material, the powder form, is come from this species. Okay, next please. This is we call as a Phalangenthus rotundula. In Malaysia, we call it as a tapak Sulaiman. I don't know why it doesn't look like tapak Sulaiman, but because the trichome is protruding from the leaf. So here we can see that it got a very special lobe trichome, which is not commonly found in the other plant species. The first time I found the lobe trichome is in the Dipterocarpaceae, the genus Shorea, but not in other species or in other plant families. So this character might be very useful to identify certain species, certain raw material that you get from the supplier. Okay, next please. And this is Phalangenthus hispida. Phalangenthus hispida is commonly used for headache. Okay, and we call it as a telinga beruang. And what we can see is also the capitate glandular trichome. We got so many types of capitate glandular trichome, but the structure of each capitate glandular trichome for each species sometimes very specific to that species. So we still can use that character to identify the raw material that came from supply that species is the raw material is authentic from the Phalangenthus hispida. I just show you one of the two examples from microscopic feature of this species because there are many microscopic features from this Phalangenthus, but I just highlight a few from this species. So can we go for the next slide, please? This is Medinilla speciosa. Medinilla speciosa is reported to useful in, for births of newborn baby. And then here we can see that the characteristics of the stomata. There are so many types of stomata that not many species got the diastatic stomata. Name of stomata or the type of stomata is really based on the arrangement of the subsidiary cells around the gut cell, and the numbers of subsidiary cells surrounding the gut cell. So diastatic stomata is something that not always occur in plant species. So it can be one of the diagnostic character for this Medinilla speciosa. Okay, next slide, please. And this is Melicope lunankinda. The name is so special and so weird. So this plant species is reported to be used in menstrual problem, and also for whitening. It could be have some ingredient in the phytocontent that give whitening to skin. Okay, so here we can see that there are about a few characters in microscopic characters that can be found. So some of it is about the stomata type, and also the way how the fiber occur in this plant. So normally when we do the microscopic feature of the powdered, we also come together with the anatomy sectioning. So the anatomy sectioning together with the powder form will help to identify the cell and tissue that come in the raw material in our raw material from the plant that came from the supplier. Okay, next. This is Melicope glabra. Melicope glabra is being reported that the publication in this species. We got a higher in antioxidants, anti-fungus, and anti-inflammatory. It's really good. This plant is really good. So here we came across with something special. They got tetrastriatic stomata, uniseriate simple trichome, and simple unicellular trichome. So this is just common character, but the way how the distribution of the this simple trichome and this simple unicellular trichome will give a certain characteristic for this Melecopic glabra. Okay, next please. This is Melecopic latifolia. Melecopic latifolia is reported is being used in fever and sprain. So here we can see that the type of stomata again, the type of unistrate simple trichome, and the presence of a fiber. The presence of crystal, the prismatic crystal in the leaf. So how we define that? Let's say last time we got a powder form for Eurocomite unigophilia from the industry. They need us to check whether that the raw material is authentic or not. So we find something fishy, which is, let's say, if that species doesn't have a prismatic crystal, and then we found that prismatic crystal in the raw material of the plant from the plant, so we know that that species is being tinted or being mixed up with other additional raw material, which is will be destruct the original plant material. Okay, next slide, please. This is Closina hexacavata. You call it chemama. This chemama. So here again, they got the solitary crystal. The solitary crystal is also a good character that can be used to identify the raw material, which is they come in many shapes like cubical, prismatic, and some star shape. So this character can really good for diagnose either that this is came from this species or not. Okay, next slide, please. This is Clausina lancium. So if we compare this Clausina lancium from the previous Clausina lancium, we can see the differences between these two species that came from the same genus. So in this species, they don't have any prismatic crystal. So maybe drusus is the character for this species, or maybe the stomata tan, the anomocytic stomata is the characteristic for this species. Okay, next please. So based on that 10 example of studied raw material from the powder form, I think that we definitely can't forget the importance of identification of raw material that came from the supplier to the industry, to make sure that we are not being cheated by the supplier, that you get something that's not authentic. So in preparing for future prosperity in the transformation of applicable and market research-based herbal product, we need, number one, is establish the basic information and scientific data of the raw material from all the potential herbal plant species, including the true identification of plant species based on the morphology. Because in my recent study on the, we call it as pokok rama-rama, which is people tend to use just any pokok rama-rama to do the tea rama-rama tea. So actually there are two different species, two different variety of this pokok rama-rama, but because without good knowledge, they just simply use that pokok rama-rama. But the impact is the consumer will get not the good but the bad one. Okay, and number two is we have to strengthen the database of microscopic features of all species potential herbal plant species, so that microscopic feature can be used as a reference for industry to develop research-based herbal. And then establish the documentation in the monograph of individual species and pharmacopoeia for every region, because normally every region they will have their own plant species, but for the common species that is shared by the every region, it's possible to be shared by each region. And the last thing is to establish the source of plant or herbal plant material in strategic in plant agriculture. What I can say is that we have to, if we want to have something that we produce from the research, we have to make sure that the supply is enough. So we have to plan an agriculture of crop production from that herbal plant species. So for that, thank you very much for listening. And if you have any question to ask, please help yourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your excellent presentation, Professor Dr. Noraini Talib from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. We move to the discussion session. We invited all the participants to press the raise hand button on Zoom meeting to deliver your question directly to the speaker, or you can also write your question in the comment column in Zoom meeting, or also in YouTube live streaming. And the committee will choose maybe about 2 or 3 questions, and I can read the question to the speaker. And I will remind you, we will do a photo session after the discussion session. So don't forget to turn on your camera while the photo session come. And then I want to remind you also to turn off your microphone while the speaker present their presentation. Thank you very much. Is there any question from the participants, operator, or committee? Okay. Professor Dr. Noraini Talib, I strongly agree that 3 challenges that that you mentioned before become our homework, not only in Malaysia but also in Indonesia. Then, what extent does the Malaysian government support the source of raw material for traditional product? What does the government do to support the source of raw material in Malaysia? I'm sorry, Professor, your mic is off.
Okay. In Malaysia, that under the NIH, National Institute of Health, they established the Malaysian Herbal Monograph to help the industry to give the proper guideline and some info regarding that regarding any plant species that they need to establish to produce a herbal based product. And sometimes we have occasionally meeting 5 times a year with the industry. So they came in with the problem, and we are as government servants that give our services to the industry to give some suggestion, discussion, what the problem face from the industry, and what we can do to help them. But instead of financial, I'm not sure about the financial, because from the National Institute of Health in Malaysia, we got quite big funding from the government to help the industry to develop more on product based on the herbal, plant herbal.
I see. Is there any questions? While waiting for the question from the participant, I want to ask you one more question, Professor.
Yes.
Do research product? I want to ask you this kind of question. Do research product, especially from university, have opportunity to compete in the community?
Oh yeah, we have based on my observations, like in University Kebangsaan Malaysia, the National Institute of Malaysia, we have a couple of product like a Gainura that came from the research had been commercialized in the market for the community to use. But the problem faced, which is the like three challenges that we face, that the lack of raw material. So I think that before any researcher or any industry want to develop product based from the plant, they have to come out with the planting the plant first, and then so because when people are at the peak to buy that product, so there no more, because there is no raw material. It's happened to many industrial based product in Malaysia. They came from university, they come from the research, the status man is so good, but then the product just stopped because of the lack of the raw material. So to answer that question, yes, there are a few, quite many, that we can have a product based on the research in Malaysia from the university and institution in Malaysia.
Okay, I see. Not only in Malaysia and Indonesia also have the same problem. Maybe we also have to learn from the other country like India or China. They establish their source of raw material. Yeah. Okay. I also curious about how does University Kebangsaan Malaysia compile a research roadmap? May I know about that, Professor?
Pardon? Again?
I curious about how does University Kebangsaan Malaysia compile do the research roadmap? How yeah.
Actually, we have some sort of grant from the government. We got a grant from the government, the minister, and then we got also grant from university, and also we got when we have a certain, we call it as a patenting. So if we have some findings in our research and we got patent, we got some solid that we are patent, they got other grant for the patenting. So after that, I have to go through all these, and then again they will propose to the government to have their finding to go through for commercializations. Is it answering your questions?
Yeah, in Indonesia also we have to look for the database from the government, and also we also come up from the local wisdom from each each region in Indonesia, in our country.
But normally before we got the solid pattern or solid result from our research, there are so many financial go waste into the drain, because from 10, normally 3 of the research will come out with the final product. That's normal, right?
Yeah. There's a question. Okay, Professor, we have a question from from our chairman of this conference. Please, Ms. Fitri.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. I'm very interested in your research because I'm also taxonomy, and whether herbal plants such as Malaysia anatomical affect the content of secondary metabolites and their function. Herbal plants such in Malaysia anatomical affect the content of secondary metabolites and their function.
Actually, I can't really hear you, Fitri. Again, sorry.
No.
I have to
herbal plants such as Malaysia anatomical affect the content of secondary metabolites and their function.
Based on my study, so I do some study on the metabolic secondary, which is we are using anatomy, we're using sectioning, we are using histology, coloring, phytochemical testing. Actually, anatomy is really helps in findings the correct structure that produce that secondary metabolite, such as the previous study I studied about the anthocyanin. So we have to find where in the plant part got the higher accumulation of the anthocyanin. So simplify by simply you're using the anatomy method. We just cross that line and then we do some coloring using the correct chemical compound. So we definitely can determine where the accumulation and isolation of that chemical compound. So I think that anatomy is still relevant in many studies as a basic study, but is still relevant in many studies, especially in metabolic compound accumulations and secretion.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Fitri, for the question. And I will remind all the participants to, if you have any question, you can raise the raise hand button. You can press the raise hand button, and then you can directly deliver your question to the keynote speaker, or you can also write down your question in the comment column in Zoom meeting and also in live YouTube live streaming. Thank you.
Before ending, I would like to request that is there any plant anatomies or plant microbiologists is there in Indonesia? Please contact me, but I would like to do some collaboration with you all. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Professor. But while waiting for the question from the older participant, may I ask you one more question, Professor? How to develop? We are talking about the methodology for our herbal products. So how to develop the methodology in herbal product research so that it can be accepted to be marketed in our country or other country?
So what we do here that there are so many tests you need to be done, but that kind of test, the many type of tests cannot be done by your own. So that's why I suggest if you got many institutions or you got many from the government come together and do as a group to do. So let's say for my part, I'm doing the microscopic features, okay, and for the other part they'll do the color test, and the other institution do the toxicity test, and the other do the chromatography test. So with that kind of collaborations, we have all kind that needs for the product to be legally produced as a herbal based product in the market. So because that kind of test is got so need a skills, you need a higher knowledge, and then got money, time consuming, everything. So we have to sit together with many type of institutions to do their own job, their own task, and come together with complete data for that plant species, and then that plant species will be solid to be introduced as to be go more for the commercializations. That what we do in the herbal monograph next year. We come together. It's about 20 institutions, something like that, and we come up with every one test, and then we produce a publication and the test, and then the industry just get that data to produce the product, but they have to pay some amount of money because to do the test it consume a lot of money too.
Thank you, Professor, for the explanation. Yeah, I strongly agree that collaboration is about how to collaborate with other knowledge discipline, and also in for the government, and also from the industrial, maybe to make our product become marketable. Because in Academy Farmasi YARSI Pontianak, we also have difficulties to establish the methodology, and also how to develop our local wisdom as our identify product originally from Akademi YARSI Pontianak. Maybe your suggest will help us to more maybe plan to get our plan to build our what can I say, blueprint for our research Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Noraini Talib from University Kebangsaan Malaysia. And now we hold a photo session for the keynote speaker and also for all the participants. So please turn on your camera. Turn on your camera. We will hold a photo session. I will count 3, 2, 1, and operator will help us to take a photo, take a picture. Okay, operator, ready? Okay. In slide 1, how many slides? 6. Okay. We have 3 slides, Professor. I'm sorry. Maybe you can keep smile to the camera. Slide 1, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay. Slide 2, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay. Slide 3, 3, 2, 1, smile. Slide 4, 3, 2, 1, smile. Slide 5, 3, 2, 1, smile. Last slide, slide 6, 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you very much, all the participants. You can turn off your camera. We continue for the symbolic award of an e-certificate from our director of Academy Pharmacy, YARSI Pontianak, to keynote speaker. For Associate Professor Dr. Noraini Talib, please stay with us. Professor?
Yes, I'm here.
If you don't mind, please turn on your camera. We're gonna continue for the
Oh,
symbolic
okay.
awarding for a certificate from Academy Pharmacy YARSI Pontianak. Miss Aristi Karisma Justicia, Mr. Representative Apotheker, please.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Dr. Noraini Talib, for your contribution for this seminar. Please accept this certificate from Academy Pharmacy YARSI Pontianak. I hope healthy and success will always be with you.
Thank you very much.
Let's give a round of applause to Miss Associate Professor Dr. Noraini Talib. Thank you very much, our Director of Academy Pharmacy YARSI Pontianak, and thank you very much for the keynote speaker for sharing your expertise in this session. We invite you to stay in the Zoom meeting room until the end of this conference. Thank you very much once again, Professor Dr. Noraini Talib. Okay, we are moving to our next agenda, to the next keynote speaker. But before that, I want to say hi first to Associate Professor Mary Luz Fiangan. Are you ready, Miss Mary?
Hello. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, we are moving to our next keynote speaker. Our next keynote speaker is Associate Professor Mary Luz Fiangan, Master of Science. I'm sorry if I make a mistake mention your name. From Saint Louis University, Philippines. The keynote speech will be moderated by me. Before that, I will read the curriculum vitae from Associate Professor Mary Luz C. Fiangan. Mary C. Fiangan is an associate professor in the Department of Pharmacy, School of Natural Sciences, and at St. Louis University, Baguio City, Philippines. Her field of specialization is geared toward pharmaceutical education and practice and natural product development. A budding researcher, she has published an article on pharmacy practice and co-author and experimental research. She has participated in various conferences, one of which is as a presenter in 11th Flora Malaysiana Symposium in 2019. She also was taped as a speaker in the first international webinar collaboration series on ethnomedicine and environmental health in COVID-19 pandemic, a collaboration between St. Louis University and one of the partner schools in Indonesia. As an educator, she also an advisor of undergraduate research groups, and on one occasion, he has won first place in the oral presentation in a national health-related conference. Okay, without any further ado, let's hear the presentation from Associate Professor Mary Luz Viagan. How are you,
Hello.
Professor Mary? Maraming salamat po. Am I right?
All right.
I
Thank you.
yeah yeah yeah.
Thank you, Dina,
I
for that generous description of me. Actually, I was laughing because Fitri asked me for a picture for the poster
yeah.
conference. However, the one that I sent was not used. And I think you grabbed a photo of me from a social media, and I was laughing at it because I look like an emoji. Wait, I'll chat the emoji here. Wait, where's that emoji? Wait. Wait. I'm looking for it. I cannot find it. Anyway, later. I'll chat it
Yeah.
later. Okay. So thank you again for that introduction of me. Hello at magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Good morning to each and everyone here today. I hope that you are that you had your breakfast and that you are comfortable in where you are right now. Now, thank you very much for inviting me to this first Academy Pharmacy YARSI Pontianak International Conference on Pharmacy with the theme Future Perspective in the Transformation of Applicable and Marketable Research-Based Herbal Product. All right. So let me acknowledge first my fellow speakers for today's plenary session, Associate Professor Dr. Noraini Talib and Professor Dr. Gusti Hardiansha. And of course, the Academy's Director, Madam Adisti Karisma Justicia. All right. So I am going to start my presentation. Okay, I am going to turn off my video and start my screen sharing. Okay.
Okay, please.
All right. I audible and is my presentation it can it be seen? Kindly
Yeah,
confirm.
it's
All
clearly
right.
seen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So indeed, um, this is a timely conference because one of its highlights is the use of herbal raw materials in the development of medicinal preparations, which is my topic for today. And I will be sharing to you a glimpse of herbal medicines research here in my country, the Philippines. And the title of this presentation is Raw Plant Materials to Herbal Remedies. All right, so let us start. Okay, so while it is true that science and technology has developed greatly and we have come so far in terms of testing and coming up with innovative products, especially in the field of medicine and pharmacy, we still cannot deny the fact that a lot of people still rely on simple herbal preparations. Yes. And during these recent years, there is a growing trend in the use of herbal supplements to boost health or as herbal medicines as primary form of healthcare. And when we say a lot of people, we are talking about 80% of the world's population who are using traditional medicines. And this is according to the WHO, the World Health Organization. In fact, out of 194 WHO member states, I think the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia are also members, 170 reported the use of traditional medicine, and the governments of these states requested the WHO for evidence and research data to inform policies, standards, and regulatory frameworks for the safe, cost-effective, and equitable use of traditional medicines. So we can see here that these countries, this WHO member states recognize the importance of traditional medicine, right? And that is why they are requesting the WHO to provide research-based evidences that would help our countries in formulating policies and regulations regarding the use of traditional medicine. And what is the response of the WHO to this request? They conducted a series of surveys between 2005 and 2018. And they have found out that the biggest challenge in traditional medicine was the need for more technical guidance on research, evaluation, relating to the safety, efficacy, and quality of this treatment. Now, to share, here in the Philippines, the practice of herbal medicines has come a very long way, and it is still relevant, just like in your countries, I presume. And the folkloric use of herbal plants were passed down generations by our forefathers also. And in the past few decades, interests into finding scientific evidence on these folkloric claims have initiated the conduct of basic and preclinical researches, mostly done in colleges and universities. Now, this is where we can see the crucial role of our educational institutions, our schools, in the development of natural products. Yes? And just to share, here in the Philippines, the production of herbal products is mainly overseen by the Department of Trade and Industry, the Chamber of Herbal Industries in the Philippines, the Food and Drug Administration under the Department of Health. And research and development of herbal products are mainly directed by the Department of Science and Technology, in conjunction with the Commission on Higher Education and the universities as research centers. Okay, and the government also showed support through the Department of Health by identifying and recommending at least 10 medicinal plants as beneficial for health. So let me run over the list one by one. You may or may not be familiar with the name, or you may have called them by another name there in Indonesia, but I hope that you are also familiar and you do recognize these plants. I will emphasize in the descriptions the results of researches conducted on these plants and their availability in the Philippine market as FDA registered products. So these are the 10 halamang gamot, the 10 medicinal plants that were forwarded or recommended by our Department of Health. So we start with Senna alata. Senna alata, or the ringworm bush, it is locally known as Acapulco here in the Philippines, and it is used for skin fungal infections. Researches have shown that the leaf and bark extract of this plant possess in vitro fungicidal activity against Candida albicans and other fungi. And currently, Acapulco products are registered in the FDA as soap preparations. However, I have seen ointment preparations, but I do not think that they are FDA registered. Okay, next is Allium sativum. This is garlic or bawang. I think you are familiar with this one. It is used for hypercholesterolemia, high cholesterol levels. And researchers have shown that garlic lowers blood pressure and cholesterol levels. And there are FDA registered products containing garlic as a single active ingredient or in combination with other herbal preparations. Excuse me. Moving on. Yeah, the third one is Blumea balsamifera or Ngai camphor, also known as Nagal camphor. Here in the Philippines, it is called sambong. So this plant is used as a diuretic and anti-urolithiasis. So meaning it can dissolve kidney stones. Yes, and among the 10 herbal products that are recommended by the DOH, this is one that is extensively researched on and was developed into a drug and is an FDA registered drug. So you will see later on. Next is Carmona retusa, or the Philippine tea tree, also called chaang gubat here. It is used as an antispasmodic and antidiarrheal agent in the form of tea. So research studies show that the antidiarrheal activity of this plant is due to the triterpenes that are found in the leaves of chaang gubat. And tea products containing chaang gubat are FDA registered as supplements. Next, we have Momordica charantia. I think you also eat this. This is called bitter melon or bitter gourd. In our country, this is called ampalaya. The leaves, even the fruits are consumed as food, as viand, or as tea for the management of non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. And numerous studies also have shown the effectivity of these preparations in lowering blood sugar levels. Currently, Ampalaya products are FDA registered as food supplements, either as single agent containing Ampalaya only or in combination with other herbal products. Okay, we proceed to menta cordifolia or yerba buena. And just like its other mint cousins, because this is a species of mint, it is also used as analgesic. Traditionally, decoction of the leaves is drank to manage pain and fever. And in the market, products containing yerba buena as one of the active ingredients are FDA registered as soap or as supplement also. Moving on to Peperomia pellucida. This is also known as pepper elder or locally called as ulasimang bato. Research has shown that it has the ability to decrease uric acid levels. So its use in gout, in arthritic gout, is validated because it can decrease uric acid levels. And a product containing ulasimang bato in combination with lagundi is FDA registered as supplement. Next is Psidium guajava or guava. It is called bayabas here. It is used as a general antiseptic. And traditionally, decoction of the leaves and bark of this plant is used as antiseptic wash for wounds. And products containing guava are FDA registered as ingredients in soaps, washes, and supplements also. Okay, these are the last two. We have Vitex negundo, also known as five-leaf chase tree or lagundi. It is also extensively researched, proving its efficacy and use as antitussive. And just like sambong, it is also FDA registered as a drug in the form of syrup or tablet. And lastly, we have Hiscalis indica, Rangoon creeper or niyog-niyogan. It is used traditionally as an anthelmintic agent used to expel intestinal worms. How do they use it? The seeds are eaten, The number of seeds to be eaten depends on the age of the patient. However, so far, there are no FDA registered products here in the Philippines that contain niyog-niyogan. Okay, so those are the 10 herbal plants that are endorsed by our Department of Health to be used for ailments. And as what I have mentioned earlier, two among these 10 were already approved as drugs, meaning they are not considered as food supplement or they are not part of cosmetics. Rather, they have a specific indication or medicinal use. So we have Vitex negundo, which is used for cough, and Blumea balsamifera, which is used as anti-urolithiatic and diuretic agent for the dissolution of kidney stones. So you can see here in the slide that they are sold in the market as drugs. All right. So aside from the endorsement of herbal medicines, different research institutions are also responsive in discovering treatments to national health issues, just like this COVID pandemic. In fact, in 2020 to 2021, the Department of Science and Technology funded two researches that aim to prove the efficacy of lagundi and virgin coconut oil. Now, these studies involved clinical trials, and results of these clinical trials show that for lagundi, in the form of syrup or tablet, it was found to be safe and effective in decreasing the symptoms of mild COVID. While as for virgin coconut oil, results show that it could be used as an adjunct supplement when it is ingested to probable and suspected cases of COVID-19 due to its antiviral and immunomodulatory properties. All right. So aside from COVID, we are also looking into the treatment of dengue and non-communicable diseases such as cardiovascular diseases and diabetes, which are very common diseases here in the Philippines. Okay, so we continue. In order to boost research capacities, the Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, also launched in 2012 the Tuklas Lunas program. Tuklas Lunas literally means to discover a cure. So this program aims to partner and capacitate research institutions in the different regions of the country to study the particular region's biodiversity potential for drug research. And St. Louis University, the institution where I am affiliated with, is one of these research centers. At SLU, we are focusing on the documentation, standardization, and formulation of dosage forms from indigenous plants and microorganisms with bioactivity potential, and the formulation and evaluation of capsules containing herbals with anti-diabetic activity. All right, so that is on the Tuklas Lunas program. Furthermore, in order to guide researchers on what to work on, those that would address the current needs of our society, they also have developed the National Unified Health Research Agenda. I will not delve into the specifics of this agenda, but one of the focus of this agenda is on functional foods, particularly on local fruits and vegetables, root crops, pigmented rice, herbs and spices, nuts, seaweeds, and edible mushrooms. So what do they want us to do with these topics on functional food? Researchers can work on any of the following. So if you choose to work on functional food, you could choose to characterize the food and its components. You could choose to work on establishing the safety of that functional food, or establish its health benefits, or you may choose to develop a product out of that functional food. Okay, and that is why, with this in mind, I and my undergraduate research teams have worked on two herbals that are promoted by the Unified Research Agenda, namely lemongrass and pandan. So let me share to you the presentation of my teams. First is on the phytochemical screening and antioxidant activity of a functional beverage preparation of tanglad, this is lemongrass, and pandan. Okay, let me share the video presentation.
The use of herbal medicines and phytonutrients or nutraceuticals continues to expand rapidly across the world.
Excuse me, let me confirm. Can you see the screen and can you hear?
Yes, it's clearly seen and clearly voiced.
Okay, thank you.
This past decade has obviously witnessed a tremendous surge in acceptance and public interest in natural therapies, both in developing and developed countries, with these herbal remedies being available not only in drugstores, but now also in food stores and supermarkets. It is estimated that up to 4 billion people living in the developing world rely on herbal medicinal products as a primary source of healthcare, and traditional medical practice, which involves the use of herbs, is viewed as an integral part of the culture in those communities. Good day, we are Team Luntian. I am Veronica Chanbong, and my teammates are Ariel Bongawel, Yvonne Bumanglag, Patrick Burgos, Maria Jesse Luca Capit, Chriselle Camodag, Vince Chaguaten, Vince Coloma, Jas Datud, and Elpidia Dongaas Jr. We are going to present our research entitled Phytochemical Screening and Antioxidant Activity of Namtakray by Tui, a functional beverage preparation of tanglad and pandan. Starting off with the background of the study, tanglad, scientifically known as Symphopogon citratus, is a tropical perennial herb belonging to the Poaceae family. Commonly known as lemongrass, this plant, particularly the leaves, is mainly used for food, cosmetics, and pharmaceutical applications. On the other hand, pandan, scientifically known as Pandanus amarellifolius, is a bright green colored foliage belonging to the Pandanaceae family. It is also commonly known as pandan mabango or dwarf screw pine. Traditionally, this plant is utilized for cooking, coloring, and packaging. Numerous studies have shown the potential pharmacologic uses of various extracts of tanglad and pandan owing to the secondary metabolites they possess. However, there has been very little to no literature regarding the antioxidant activity of the combined aqueous extracts of tanglad and pandan presented as an herbal drink as Namtakray by Tui and as a common beverage in Southeast Asia. For the goals and objectives, let me turn you over to Jas.
Thank you, Veronica. For the goals and objectives, this study sought to determine the secondary metabolites present in the tanglad pandan beverage and test its antioxidant activity. Specifically, it attempted to answer the following questions. First, what are the secondary metabolites present in pandan leaves, tanglad leaves, and tanglad pandan? Second, how does the antioxidant activity of the following preparation compare to each other? Pandan leaves decoction, tanglad leaves decoction, tanglad pandan decoction, and green tea infusion. Lastly, how acceptable is the tanglad pandan drink in terms of color, aroma, taste, and aftertaste? For the significance of the study, let me turn you over to Kyla.
Thank you, Jess. For the significance of the study, the results of this study primarily provides evidence on the antioxidant activity of the herbal preparation Namtakray by Tui. Second, this study is beneficial to people interested in tea products and who utilize tea drinks as a supplement to boost their health. Lastly, this paper can be utilized by future researchers who wish to investigate this subject further to determine the therapeutic advantage of the tea combination. For the methodology, let me turn you over to Chriselle.
Thank you, Kyla. For the methodology, our study involves experimental procedures involving the collection and preparation of the plant samples, preparation of the extracts, phytochemical screening, antioxidant activity testing using DPPH assay and volume Stochel-2 assay, and consumer acceptability testing. To start off the results and discussion, let me turn you over to Ariel.
Thank you, Chriselle. Moving on, we have the results and discussion. This present study shows that the pure tanglad decoction yielded positive results for the presence of flavonoids, polyphenols, glycosides, saponins, and alkaloids, whereas flavonoids, glycosides, saponins, alkaloids, and terpenoids were detected in the pure pandan decoction. For the pandan-tanglad combination, flavonoids, polyphenols, glycosides, saponins, alkaloids, and terpenoids proved to be present. The positive control green tea shows the presence of flavonoids, polyphenols, and alkaloids. With these metabolites detected, and according to studies such as those by Wang et al. And Zegad et al., it was said that flavonoids and polyphenols can be positively correlated with a stronger antioxidant capacity.
All negative results of the phytochemical analysis may be attributed to several factors, such as the geographical location, temperature, the biological components of the sample, the experimental conditions, the preparations, the type of solvent used, the method of extraction, or even the plant part used. However, based on the results of the phytochemical screenings, the main product, mixed tanglad pandan tea, may contain metabolites that possess antioxidant properties. To continue with our other results, let me turn you over to Yvonne.
Thank you, Jessilu. For the DPPH assay was performed to determine the DPPH free radical scavenging capacity at 517 nanometer wavelength using spectrophotometry. Here are the results of DPPH scavenging activity by percentage. The free radical scavenging activity yielded by the individual preparations of tanglad and pandan are 100% and 96.74% respectively. Thus, they had more potent free radical scavenging activity compared to the mixed tanglad pandan sample, which only yielded 93.24%. Conversely, the control sample ascorbic acid yielded 96.93%. The DPPH radical scavenging activity of the samples could be attributed to their higher flavonoids and phenolic contents. Flavonoids have the ability to reduce the formation of free radicals and scavenge free radicals. Additionally, polyphenols can donate an electron or hydrogen atom, leading to the neutralization of free radicals. To continue with the antioxidant activity, let me turn you over to Patrick.
Thank you, Yvonne. For the following Stochel-2 method, the result of PPC computation is shown in this table. The total phenolic contents in different extracts of tanglad, pandan, and tanglad pandan mix were determined by Stochel method using gallic acid as the standard. The calibration curve was constructed using the absorbance values obtained at various concentration of gallic acid. Regression equation y is equal 0.2582x and R2 is equal to 0.96 was used to quantify the total phenolic content of the extracts and represented as milligrams gallic acid equivalent per gram of sample in dry weight. According to the result, the final three concentration do not have significant amount of phenolic content, but at 1% and 10% concentration, substantial phenolic compounds were evident. This is conjunction with what is found in several literature showing that the amount of phenolic compounds present in any plant is directly proportional to its antioxidant qualities. To continue with the consumer acceptability test, let me turn you over to Vince.
Thank you, Patrick. For the consumer acceptability test, the plain tanglad pandan mix sample was rated slightly light for its color, extremely light for its aroma, slightly light for its taste, and neither like nor dislike for its aftertaste. Out of the four samples, the tanglad pandan mixed with table sugar and tanglad pandan mixed with honey had the highest acceptability ratings, while the tanglad pandan mixed with muscovado sugar had the lowest acceptability rating among all samples. Apparently, the muscovado sugar darkened the mixture's color, contributing to the mixture's overall rating unfavorably. Hence, the consumer preferred the preparations mixed with table sugar and honey due to their familiar and sweeter taste. To continue with the conclusion and recommendations, let me turn you over to Elpidio.
Thank you, Vince. For the conclusion, the Tanglad Pandan tea combination has a potential to be developed as a functional beverages that can help neutralize free radicals and boost one's overall health. This is evident in the presence of secondary metabolites and polyphenols present in the Tanglad Pandan mix, and the high percentage of in vitro free radical scavenging activity. Furthermore, the Tanglad Pandan mix prepared with table sugar and honey garnered the highest acceptability rating based on color, aroma, taste, and aftertaste. And lastly, for our recommendation, we propose the use of analytical method in determining the antioxidant activity, the use of dried leaves instead of fresh leaves to have a comparison, identify and controlling the factors that affects antioxidant properties of the herbal preparation, exploring other potential properties such as anti-inflammatory, anti-tussive, and anti-hyperglycemic activities. And lastly, establishing the packaging and storage condition to increase the shelf life of the product. That ends our research presentation. Thank you for your interest and attention.
Okay. All right. So in here, we try to prove that the herbal beverage, which is composed of lemongrass and pandan decoctions have antioxidant activity. And according to our results, it does show antioxidant activity. However, take note that when you dilute it too much, you shouldn't dilute the preparation too much. Otherwise, you get lesser of the polyphenols. That is according to our studies. All right. Now, this other research is on the development and evaluation of an antifungal ointment formulation containing lemongrass essential oil extract. So let us listen to the presentation of this second group.
Hello, good day everyone. We are Group Tangladination under our FRP Miss Mary Luz Fiangaan. Before we formally start our presentation, I would like to introduce to you my co-researchers, Dina Jamaila Palisok, Yvonne May Pasule, Belinda Opoku, Fel Christian Padilla, Kelly Kim Pahe, Dane Nikki Pamaleras, Daniel Janice Pasiwen, Christy Ann Quintero, Eldren Robilias, and my name is Princess Pilawan, your first reporter. Lemongrass is a medicinal plant prevalent in tropical regions of Asia, and its essential oil is of great interest in the treatment of fungal infections. Several studies have shown high antifungal effects of LGO, especially on Candida strains, which primarily causes cutaneous candidiasis. Its antifungal effects are mainly attributed to its broad spectrum of secondary metabolites, including citral, geraniol, linalool, menthol, and thymol, which are the major components of the essential oil. With the promising results from studies, it is recommended to be incorporated into pharmaceutical formulations. In addition, given the circumstances nowadays where there is increasing prevalence of cutaneous candidiasis, the need to develop new antifungal formulations also increases. Ointments have been traditionally used for the treatment of skin fungal infections due to its several benefits, including ease of application, which helps in high patient compliance, and it prolongs drug delivery, allowing achievement of desired therapeutic effects. Belinda will now be discussing the significance of the study.
Thank you, Sess. Taking it from there, this study can be said to be of great significance, since the widespread of fungal infections worldwide has led to a rise in need of antifungal agents. With a harmonized National and Research Development Agenda, HNRDA, inspiring the development of standardized herbal drugs and ointment with the use of local plant resources, sparking the idea of discovering an ointment containing lemongrass essential oil, which is uncommon in the pharmaceutical industry and generally economical. This study deals with the development and evaluation of an ointment containing lemongrass essential oil, with the aim of answering the questions: 1. What are the characteristics of the formulated ointment? And 2. Do the formulated ointment exhibit antifungal properties against Candida albicans? Now, the methodology.
Thank you, Belinda. Moving on to the summarized methodology, the hydrodistillation method was performed to extract the essential oil of lemongrass. Fusion method was used to formulate the ointment, utilizing petrolatum as the ointment base. The physical characteristics of the ointment, such as color and odor, were determined using organoleptic method. The ointment's pH, spreadability, and extrudability were also tested using instrumentation technique. Finally, the disc diffusion method was performed to observe and describe the antifungal activity of the formulated ointment.
For the results and discussion, for the physical characterization of the essential oil will be discussed by Dane.
Thank you, Kelly. For the physical characterization, the lemongrass essential oil's appearance, color, and odor were observed, and its density and percentage yield was computed. The researchers observed that the oil is a clear liquid with a pale yellow color and a fresh lemon-like scent with sweet aroma. Moreover, the volume of the oil was 7.7 milliliters with a weight of 6.6 grams, and its computed density is 0.857 grams per milliliter, which does not fall under the range set by the ISO since it was affected by the temperature. Meanwhile, for the percentage yield, 0.128% was obtained, which is lower than the average yield of lemongrass essential oil through hydrodistillation. According to Aquani 2012, one factor that could affect the yield is water deficit. Other factors include the extraction temperature during the distillation process, plant part used, amount of herb used in the distilling flask, amount of water used in distilling, and distillation time. As for the physical characteristics and pH of the ointment, it will be discussed by Ms. Palisok.
Thank you, Ms. Pamoleras. Now, let's further discuss the characterization of the lemongrass essential oil ointment in terms of its color, odor, and pH. For the organoleptic results of the formulated ointment, the researchers observed that all of the formulations has a homogeneous appearance with two different colors depending on its concentration. The formulations with 1% to 2% concentrations showed a white homogeneous appearance, while the 2.5% concentration showed a slightly yellowish homogeneous appearance. Furthermore, the odor of the topical formulations went from odorless to a hint of fresh, lemon-like scent with sweet aroma from lemongrass essential oil, which intensifies as the concentration increases. Moving on, the pH values of tested ointments all conform with the suggested pH of topical products as it ranges from 5.64 to 6.29, which lies within the range of normal skin pH 4 to 6 and a factor for consideration for safe application without the risk of irritation. For the time being, the discussion about spreadability and extrudability will be presented by the other researcher, Ms. Pasiwen.
Thank you, Ms. Palisok. Moving on, the spreadability of the preparation was measured through a parallel plate method. The diameter of the circle after spreading was measured. The diameter of topical formulations should have at least doubled for it to be considered to have good spreadability. Based on the results, the formulated ointments were easily spreadable and the coverage area was doubled. The percentage of the extruded ointment was calculated based on the amount of ointment extruded and the amount filled in the tube. Topical formulations should have an extrudability ranging from good to excellent.
Results of the study showed that the ointment formulations with the concentrations of 0%, 1%, 1.5%, and 2% have good extrudability, while the 2.5% concentration showed an excellent extrudability. It can be observed that in both cases, the spreadability and extrudability increases as the concentration increases. Let's move on to the results of the antifungal assay, which will be discussed by Ms. Quintero.
Thank you, Daniel. For the antifungal assay, the researchers evaluated the antifungal activity of lemongrass essential oil against Candida albicans by observing the zones of inhibition using different concentrations of the lemongrass essential oil. The results show that there was no detectable fungal growth for the sample of pure lemongrass essential oil, exhibiting similar results with those found in various literatures. Meanwhile, for the formulated ointments, only the 2% and 2.5% concentrations exhibited antifungal activity with an average zone of inhibition of 7.667 millimeters and 10.667 millimeters respectively. These results of the antifungal assay indicate that the higher the amount of active ingredient present, the greater is the antifungal activity. For the next part, the conclusion and recommendations will be presented by our co-researcher, Fel.
Thank you, Ms. Quintero. For the conclusion, at the end of the study, the researchers have concluded that the formulated antifungal ointment showed acceptable properties for topical preparations. Using the organoleptic and instrumentation method, the following characteristics of the ointment were observed. First is that the pH of the formulations in different concentrations are acceptable for topical application. Next is that it conforms to the standards of spreadability and consistency. And lastly, extrudability ranges from good to excellent. The disc diffusion assay, on the other hand, have revealed that the antifungal effect is directly associated with the concentration of lemongrass essential oil as shown by the increasing zone of inhibition with an increase in concentration. As for the recommendation for the future researchers and further studies, the current research recommends utilizing other extraction methods such as hydrodiffusion and steam distillation for the isolation of lemongrass essential oil. Increasing the lemongrass essential oil concentration to be incorporated into the formulation is also advised to exhibit a higher antifungal activity. Another suggestion is to develop, evaluate, and compare formulations using other ointment bases like lanolin or other delivery systems for better characterization evaluation. The use of other fungal samples like Candida tropicalis and Aspergillus niger is also advised to have a more intensive evaluation regarding the formulation's broader and more potent antifungal activity. And lastly, an in vivo follow-up study could be conducted as a confirmation to the antifungal activity that this current study claims. That's the end of our research presentation. Thank you for your kind attention.
Okay. All right. So this time we have extracted essential oil from lemongrass and used the essential oil to formulate ointments of different concentration and then tested it for antifungal activity. And our results show that in order for the ointment to be effective, we need to incorporate higher concentrations of essential oil. Okay, so let me continue to my presentation. All right. All right, that's it. So that is it for my sharing. I am sure that in Indonesia, being a very diverse country, biodiverse country, you also have a lot of herbal medicinals that are waiting to be discovered and proven effective. And I am also sure that your government also supports research endeavors pertaining to herbal medicines and natural product development. So as a key takeaway, let me leave you with this thought. Research provides evidence on the safety, efficacy, and quality of herbal materials traditionally used as medicine. May we be inspired to do research, and I hope that this conference is a start of more collaboration among our institutions in the field of research and drug discovery. So that is it. Maraming salamat. Terima kasih. Thank you very much for your time and kind attention. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Associate Professor Dr. Mary Luz Fiangan, Master of Science. Thank you for your excellent presentation. And give applause to Professor Dr. Mary Luz Fiangan for the presentation. And then I will remind you guys, to all the participants, don't forget, if you have any question, you can deliver your question directly to the professor, Dr. Mary Luz Piangan, by press the raise hand button, and you can also write down your question to comment column in Zoom meeting or in YouTube live streaming. Okay, Professor Mary, Associate Professor Mary, you said that there are 10 medical plans recommended by DOH, which is 2 of them have been approved as medicine, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How about the public response regarding to the 2 types of drug that contain herbal as active ingredients?
Do people buy it? You're asking if
what do the people respond? They buy, or how about the comment from the public?
Yes, since they are widely available in our drugstores and also in the market, people would actually choose these preparations over chemically produced antitussive agents or diuretic agents, because they deem it to be safer than those chemicals. So yes, a lot of people buy this too. And even the supplements in the form of tea or powders, they also buy it.
Okay, same like in Indonesia, our herbal product also more famous lettuce, because maybe maybe the society and the public get more information about the herbal product, I think. And then the committee, there is a question from the participant. No, the participant, how about your question? You can write down your question in the comment column, and I will write the question for you. While waiting for a question from the participant, I want to, if you don't mind, I want to ask you a question, Professor Mary Luz.
It's okay.
Yeah, based on your research and your team research for antioxidant activity, if I'm not mistaken, pandan, pandan species, extract and fraction that give a good antioxidant, give a good result on antioxidant test, do not always give a good result when after being formulated into a product. So have you ever experienced the same problem?
Yes, actually we have recognized that, wherein if it is the extract alone, not for this research, okay, I'm referring to other researches that, say for example, methanolic or ethanolic extract, and when they are going to test it in vitro, it is effective. However, when they already formulate it into products or into dosage forms, it seems that the effectivity lessens, or there is no effect anymore. Maybe it is because the way it is formulated and the excipients that are added in the product formulation affects the efficacy of the extract. So there, and that is why in our research we have focused on how to prepare it in a very simple manner that even the common people, the lay people, can also prepare it without decreasing its antioxidant property. So we have chosen um, beverage decoction of the extract, and that is what we have tested. However, in the other one, in the formulation of the ointment, we have extracted essential oil. When we formulated it into an ointment, the lower is the concentration, the less effective it is. So we were thinking, how much essential oil should there be incorporated in the ointment so that it would be as effective as that of the control? Um, we lacked during that time, we lacked essential oil. That's why we were not able to test it, but it is part of our continuous study. Yes, so yes, we do recognize that those things happen a lot of times.
Yeah, I see.
And
Thank you. Yeah.
sometimes also when they are formulated into dosage forms or products, when you take them in, they're not effective anymore. Those things happen also. But in the in vitro test, they are effective. So those things really happen.
Okay. Uh,
Mm-mm.
that's why in formulation we have to add more antioxidant excipients to uh, cover the activity of our herbal antioxidant to our product. It is so difficult, I think.
Yes,
And
it
then, yeah.
is. And I think that is also the reason why, even if we have discovered a lot of potential medicines from our plants, very few are developed into a drug because of these problems.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we are also waiting for the question from the participant. Is there any questions? Okay, before that, talking about your essential, Professor Mary Luz Fiangan, what
Mm-mm.
steps have you taken to increase the yield value obtained from the essential oil refining process? Because we know that it is difficult to maintain the uniform quality of
It is.
essential oil that come from different resources or different
Mm-mm.
sources where they are harvested in different places.
Uh, the question is, I'm sorry,
How to increase the yield value
yield.
of yield
Yes.
value.
Uh-uh. Yeah, that is actually one of our problems as well, because the method of extraction was hydrodistillation and the percentage yield. So we used around 10 kilos of lemongrass, but we only extracted around 6 ml of essential oil. So that is a lot of raw materials, and the percentage yield is very small. And however, we are also limited of the equipments that are used. There are a lot of procedures that are more um, ano tawag dito? That are more effective in extracting essential oil. I think manufacturing firms have these large vats to extract essential oil. Okay, the problem is the quality from this uh, from these manufacturers. or producers of essential oil, quality and purity of the oil that they produce. So maybe we could test the oil first before we use them to formulate products.
Yeah.
But in the small scale, I do not have anything to recommend because it's really difficult. Yes,
Yeah, I think
unless we have the equipment.
yeah, in the laboratory scale, it is difficult to
Yes.
develop the yield of the essential oil that we produce. Yeah. And then in Indonesia also, we have industry that produce essential oil, but sometimes the quality of the product, for example, the odor, the what can I say? The flavor is not same as the for example, the United States essential oil. So maybe if the quality of essential is also depend on the material, not material, the material, and then the resources, and also the equipment that
Yes.
the industrial use.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes,
very
I
much.
agree with you. I agree
Yeah.
with you.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Dr. Marilus Fiagan. Maybe Miss
Miss Dina?
Fitri? Yeah. Miss Aristi Karisma Bistia, maybe you have a question, please.
Okay. How can I call you, Madam Mary or Miss Mary?
And Mary Lucy is okay.
Mary. I want to ask you about in Philippines. Does herbal research in Philippines is start from empirical use in associated to, and then in fact in Indonesia, people really believe in the efficacy of traditional plants that have been used for generation. They while receiving their medical treatment, they also take traditional treatment too at the same time. How about in Philippines?
If the patients both take the
medical treatment, and they also take a traditional medicine too at the same.
together?
Yes,
No.
in Indonesia, like that.
It is actually here in the Philippines, it is not actually recommended unless you specifically tell your doctor that you want to take a traditional preparation. However, our clinicians, our doctors would most likely recommend medicines. Um, this is our situation is not the same as in Indonesia or in Thailand or in China, wherein traditional medicine as well as contemporary medicine go hand in hand, and you have two different doctors for it, right? And somehow it works. Somehow it works, right? In your case, but here in the Philippines, they deem it is deemed that there could be adverse drug reactions or drug interactions when you take an herbal preparation together with a contemporary medicine. So they do not usually use them together.
Yeah, it is habit in Indonesia. So it's our responsibility to education to people in Indonesia to get more information for traditional medicine and medical treatment. It not it for the same time. I'm curious for one thing. How about the doctor support or appreciation there in Philippines for herbal medicine?
Huh. um I'm laughing at that because they are not everyone is supportive of it. Not everyone is supportive of it. They still want to rely on those products that have undergone clinical trials in order to ensure that the products that the patients take are safe, effective, and is of quality. However, for minor illnesses such as cough, fever, or a minor headache or minor pains like that, they could recommend traditional or herbal preparations. But for more serious illnesses, they would rather prescribe um, contemporary medicine.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mary.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much, Miss.
also.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miss Adisti Karisma Justicia, for the question, and thank you for Associate Professor Mervelus for the answer. And then we are still waiting for the participant for the question from the participant. Is there any questions? Okay, there's a question from our chairman of international conference, Miss Fitri. Time and place
Yes.
yours.
Hi, Mary.
Hello, my friend.
Thank you your presentation.
Thank you.
Maybe my question, Indonesia and Philippines, it seems the way we have many plants that are
Yes.
similar and the same, many plants,
Mhm.
Philippines and Indonesia. And is there in Philippines maybe herbal drink? In Indonesia, jamu.
Yes, I've heard of jamu.
Yes. Is there any herbal drink in Philippines?
Here in the Philippines, we do not have we do not have a counterpart for jamu. Um, uh,
What plants?
what plants?
Yes.
Lemongrass is common.
Oh.
Pandan tea is common as well. Other than that, I do not um ang tawag dito, I do not know of any more common plants other than pandan and lemongrass, aside from coffee and tea. We are coffee drinkers and green tea drinkers. Ayan. Ayun.
Like the jamu, like apa ya? Ginger?
Ginger,
Yes.
salabat. We call it salabat. Ginger tea is
Salabat.
salabat, but it's only used for when someone has sore throat, or if one is going to join a singing contest like that to prepare the throat, he drinks ginger tea. Yes.
Okay. And maybe I join you research pandanase because you research pandanase.
Yes. And your expertise is on pandan.
You know my pandan.
Yes, you have mentioned it when we met before.
We research together. Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Miss Fitri, for the question. And then maybe we have 5 minutes left to this session. Last but not least, I want to ask you Okay, we have one question in chat room. From Irfan. Can I know what the name metabolites, secondary metabolite in that lemongrass, functional for antifungal? That is the question from Irfan.
The metabolite is the essential oil itself. I forgot the particular name. Wait. I'm gonna remember, but if I don't remember, I will put it in the chat box. Is it okay?
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. I really forgot, but my student was able to mention it a while back. Okay, I will chat the answer. Okay? All
Okay,
right.
it's okay.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. It's okay. Okay. For the last question, does St. Louis University have research product that have been or have potential been marketed What are the challenges in development of herbal product research in Selwyn University?
That is a very big challenge, actually. So, as a university, we are still a newbie. We're still new. It is only in the last 5 or 6 years wherein we have started aggressively on research. And that is why we still have no product to be marketed or to be patented. But hopefully in the future, we will have. Yeah, because we are still starting.
Okay, we press together same like us in Academy Pharmacy YARSI Pontianak. We are also nearby, so yeah, maybe we can collaborate
Yes,
each
of
other.
course.
Yeah,
We love that. We love
yeah, of course.
collaboration.
Yes, of
Yes.
course. Okay, we are moving to our next session. This is a photo session for the
Okay.
keynote speaker. Operator, are you ready? Okay, we will take a picture, just one slide of picture, just one slide of picture. Okay, I will count 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you very much for the keynote speaker and for the participant to this session, and then we continue for the symbolic awarding of an e-certificate by the director of Academy Pharmacy YARSI Pontianak, Miss Apoteker Adisti Karisma Justisia, Master of Science. Your mic is.
Okay, Mary, thank you for your willingness to be a speaker today. Please accept this certificate. I hope healthy and success will always be with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Miss Adisti Karisma Justisia. Thank you so much, Associate Professor Mary Luz Fiangan, Master of Science. Let's give a round of applause to our second keynote speaker today. Thank you very much for sharing your expertise in this session. We invite you to stay in the Zoom meeting until the end of this conference. And now we are moving to our next session. Is our keynote speaker, our third keynote speaker. Committee is Professor Dr. Gusti Hardiansa, Master of Science, is already on the meeting.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang.
How are you, Professor?
Very good. Thank you. I just landed in Jakarta.
Oh.
So I hope my sound can be heard and also the PPT from there. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Your voice already clear and your camera is on. And then I will remind the operator to share the PowerPoint presentation from Professor Dr. Gusti Hardiansa, Master of Science. But before we continue to the presentation, let me read your curriculum vitae first. Curriculum vitae of Professor Dr. Insinyur Haji Gusti Hardiansa, Master of Science QAM IPU. The organization experiences from Professor Dr. Gusti Hardiansa. DPD Pengusaha Penggilingan Padi dan Beras Indonesia Perpadi as Dewan Pengarah from 2021 till 2025 for West Kalimantan, and then Yayasan Rumah Sakit Islam Pontianak as Wakil Ketua 1 from 2020 until 2025 in West Kalimantan, and then Masjid Al Hikmah as a chairman from 2020 until 2024 Pontianak, and there are a lot of organization experiences including Senat Fakultas Kehutanan in Tanjung Pura University also, and then the article publication on journal, there is 3 letters article publication on journal, study of management pattern of sustainable peat cultivation technique applied by the community in Tumbang Nusa village, Pulang Pisau Regency, Central Kalimantan Province. The name of journal is IOP Publishing. To 2021, and then kajian adopsi penerapan teknik budidaya pada lahan gambut berkelanjutan oleh masyarakat di Desa Tumbang Nusa, Kabupaten Pulang Pisau pada proceeding seminar nasional PIPT 2021, dan kajian desain formasi pemadaman api menggunakan teknologi nyapar dalam penanggulangan kebakaran hutan dan lahan, proceeding seminar nasional Fakultas Kehutanan 2021. Without any further ado, let us hear from Professor Dr. Gusti Hardiansa, Master of Science. Professor, time and place is yours.
Thank you, moderator. It's happy to be here. First of all, I would like to congratulate Farmasi, Akademi Farmasi, to conduct this conference. The thematic is very sexy, I think. Future perspective in the transformation of applicable and marketable research-based herbal program. I think I do also appreciate what the first and the second keynote speakers. It is very interesting that associate professor from Philippines, Mary Luz, and also associate professor Dr. Raini. Yeah, I heard, I joined and really enjoy the presentation. Now, please allow me to share. Maybe I'm going to bring you to the upstream. No, to the downstream. Upstream to the hulu, yeah? Upstream, and then we go to the downstream. In title that I'm going to give, please share the, the title, Biodiversity for Bioeconomy and Potential of Pharmacy Product. Now, in this session, actually, I have a team also. I would like to inform you.
I'm sorry, Professor Dr. Gusti Hardiansa, your voice is missing.
Hello?
Yeah. Okay, it's clear.
Yeah, there's a phone is coming, so I disconnected. Sorry. I'm going before I start to the second slide. It could be different to give you all the idea of my presentation. Please go to the conclusion, please. Go to the conclusion, please. My conclusion in number 27 slide. 27 slide. Okay. This is the idea. In my presentation, I would like to share the information that West Kalimantan has medical plant rich, and it has been used by indigenous community. As a forester, actually, I study a lot with all we call here in Dukun, medicine man, as a traditional disease, cure and proven by scientific research. That is our challenges as the academician. That's why interesting what Miss Mary said, that in China, they can balance, the knowledge from scientific doctor and also the knowledge from we call it orang-orang jamuan lah ya kita ini ya. Kemudian the traditional medical ways need to be improved gradually towards its bioeconomy. Why bioeconomy? As you know, we are living in destructive technology, destructive era during endemic of COVID. I think if we are not goes toward bioeconomy, we will see still that fossil economy. That is not good for us because it causes greenhouse gases and climate change. And the third conclusion, the forest medical plan need to be promoted and leveraged at pharmacy-based industrial scale. I think there is challenging from academy pharmacy practitioner or lecturer or students, to do this. And then we need more advanced research needed for proven pharmacy industrial uses of herbal medicine and also promote good manufacturing practice GMP. That is what we would like to see here. Now I'm going to start the presentation. Please, second slide, please. Okay, second slide. This is to inform of you about the potential of West Kalimantan. As West Kalimantan citizen, West Kalimantan is the third largest province in Indonesia. The area land is almost like 14.6 million hectares. The forest cover is 5.5 million, is the size of Denmark. Globally, West Kalimantan acknowledged as the heart of Borneo, HOB, heart of Borneo. And we know the forest is important for 2.5 million people. There are only almost 1,300 villages, in the people in the forest in West Kalimantan. And also is content tropical forest carbon stock Indonesia. As you know that Indonesia has the third largest tropical country after Brazil and Congo. And there is many biodiversity, including aves, mammalia, reptile, and species of plant, of course. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. As you know, the biodiversity and ecosystem, before we are happy that everybody say that we are a mega biodiversity country. I think not only Indonesia, also the Asian country here, Malaysia and also Philippines. But there is an homework that we need. Not only that we need to have the competitive advantage of this mega biodiversity. That's why we need to have the provisioning, regulating, culture and supporting services. Now, if we can step to the bioeconomy, we need what we do, bioprospection. And I think in this occasion, I would like to share that information, experience to all of you here. Next slide. Yeah. Here, the current development pathway of West Kalimantan, we would like to have a new paradigm to promote bioeconomy. I think this is very important things. When we are talking bioeconomy, we shifting that old conventional or business as usual paradigm to that bioeconomy towards to the sustainable development goals. Please goes to slide 9. Okay, 9. Slide 9. No, that is 10. 9. No, 9. Oh, okay. Now this is to give you a concrete example. West Kalimantan also have not only the tropical forest, we have also mangrove forest. In terms of bioeconomy, what we do, we learn from our ancestors. In mangrove, we can get some herbal medicine. Part of mangrove plant as medicine include leaf, root, stem, seed, and fruit. So diseases that are treated can be from this herbal, stomach, itching, illness, diarrhea, and ulcer. Beside medicine, we can get also from food, from kelulut, from what in these pictures. We can get many raw material to have to make cake, to make agar-agar here. Yeah? And also, when we are talking about herbal, we need to know the source. We need to know the potential. Yeah. Now, that's why we need to study the biology, the dendrology. Next slide, please. Now, here, next slide. Here is the plant name, medicine plant, ya, tanaman obat from mangrove resource. We have jeruju, Anthosalus ilocopa. We have nipa, we have blue cup. Yeah, this is the family. Now, of course, when we know the source, we will see the maybe in chemical bioactive chemical for the cure the disease. And this medicine, this plant need to be proved in scientific base that it can benefit to us. Okay, I think go to the 16th slide, please. 16 slide. Yeah, I skipped that. I think next. Okay. Medical plant species in West Kalimantan. I think our team have already made a book, a database that at least there are 702 species for medical plant that is found in West Kalimantan with 148 plant family. Yeah. So out of that, 4 families is Aporbasiae here, and then Abasiae, Rubisiae, Zingerbisiae. I think Zinger fit react question to Miss Filipina, the Zingerzing, Zinger. There are 32 here species in West Kalimantan. And you can get this book when you want to see the species and the families. Next slide. As you know, West Kalimantan or subnational have that almost 14 districts. This is the distribution from our research in forestry faculty of Tanjung Pura University with the student, with the lecturer, which district from Landak, from Skadau, Bengkayang, Sintang, Antasari, even in Kota Pontianak City. We also have some species for medicine plant we find in the cities. So not only we got from the upstreams area, I mean like in the pedalaman, from not only from the Dayaks, also from the Malay and others, we call it suku lain juga ya. Nah, next, when you know the distribution, when you know the source of the species, the medical plant, of course, you need to know from information you get from your ancestors, your medicine man, or your wisdom, local wisdom. There is a medical plant species based on disease group. Yeah. Here you see for fever, at least there are 169 species. And for epilepsy, there are 3 species here. So this graphic showing you the medical plan for group of disease, group of illness. Yeah. This we can we got it from our survey for the last almost 10 years. You see. So this is the group of the disease. Yeah? Even there is from headache, yeah, tuberculosis. Maybe there's a question, how, uh, how why do you think that our medicine man or the people in the country, in the outside area knows? Yeah, they also learn. They also learn with the doctor also. So this is the challenge that we need to incorporate, like in China, what uh, Associate Professor Louis said, that if we can balance this knowledge base, the doctor medicine and also the local wisdom, is very benefit for us. Next. Now, not only in the forest area, but we also found the medical plant in non-forest area. Supposedly in the Sintang district, in some Tembawang, Serimba, we are not only know which state of the, as you know, the growth of the plant from seedling, seedling is less than 1 meters. When you talk sapling is 1.5 meter up. When you talk poles, you are talking about 5 centimeter to 20 centimeter in diameter. But when you talk trees is that 20 centimeter up in diameter, 20, 21 to 50 big trees. So we need to see our source. As you know, if we know the use of this species, we need to see in the area in what state of the growth they are. They are in seedling or they are in trees. Why we need to know this? We need to see the scarcity. When you have to know the cure, but you don't have the raw material in what state of the growth. Here in the table here, you see that Hopia maranga is a very high, yeah, in number of seedling. But in here, the Tawang Selumbang, more trees are dominant compared to seedling, samai, panchang, or sapling or tiang. So we can calculate later the potency of our cure. Next. Now, here the slide about medical plant potential. Medical plant for antibacterial. Mostly in campus here in Faculty Forestry, what we conduct the research is in vitro, in vivo, and preclinic. Yeah. This is we need to follow the systematic from BPOM, because BPOM classified Food and Drugs Control Agency classified medical plant as jamu-jamuan, tradisional, herbal, standardized herbal, and then phytopharmaca. I think like in forestry, what we do is only from the inventory of the species, and then to know the knowledge, local knowledge, and then we conduct the in vitro, and then part in vivo or preclinical treatment. Here is a medical plan for antibacteria. Actually, in this slide, you see, we would like to see the bioactivity component. Yeah? Here we found Hopea mangarawan, Dipterocarpaceae, is better, yeah, for. Oh no, this is not Hopea. This is jambu monyet, yeah. Jambu monyet extract is good to inhibit that antibacteria. Yeah, yeah. We do the extract from maceration to inhibit the bacteria of ear bacteria type and also coli. Yeah, as you see in that statistic, see, if you have very significant findings, yeah, especially for when you increase the concentration for the backwood, yeah, of jambu monyet, yeah, or we call it Pentamaria nodine, yeah. And next, for antifungis, medical plan for antifungis, we also tested here for some from extractive of kayu pelanjau, pentas powder noterli, here you see when the graphic that the species of pelanjau is the best one when we conduct the in vitro things. Next, for 22nd is by the medical plan for diabetes. Actually, there are 11 species that inhibits the alpha glucosidase. Yeah? The best here from the graphic we see dari petai-petaian, ya? From the right graphic, yeah. But these 11 species extract is good for diabetes. Yeah. So the species, you can see the species. Here is the picture of the fruity, including the durian, yeah, durio, see, including the lancium also here. As you see, the highest graphic is good to inhibit the diabetes. Yeah, and then next slide. Now, this is to show the less cholesterol and triglyceride, yeah, from the wood bark of Iris timoriana, eh? And then you see the graphic here. When you have the less degree of the blood glucose, it is that extract is good. Yeah? There are 6 species of medical plant that you can find in West Kalimantan, according to this research. Yeah? Next, this is a medical plan for delay type for we call it peradangan, hypersensitivity, and this we conduct with the mice. Yeah? We conduct with the in vivo here, yeah, with the mice. As you see, the dulcet is the best one. Yeah? That can reduce the hypersensitivity, and the color that you see, the red color on the right side of the slide, it is an ear thickness, yeah, from the mice. When you have that big one, the big thickness means it is very hypersensitivity. But when they give this extract from this medical plant, it's become like normal, like not too thick, and the quantity you can see in this picture. And the under slide here in the corner, in the below, it sees the point, yeah, when you have very less point and color, they show the we call it ini leukositnya ya. We call it I forgot the name here. Artinya sel darah putihnya ini yang melawan ini ya. Jadi dia agak tidak merah, lebih merah, berarti ada darah putihnya ini. Leukositnya ya. And then next 25th slide, medical plan for inflammatory. Yeah. Nah, and in here, when you see the effect of extract wood bark of human epithelial here, of course, here when you have the highest number here for the triangle duo, yeah, is the good one, and the color is the dark one. And next, medical plan for inflammatory also, and here is some wood bark also for species Mango Angirdan and Hoplia, yeah, is the that we can show from pre-clinics that our medical plan in West Kalimantan, part of it can be recommended, but we need to do more research, especially more collaboration in the clinical trial. Yes, I think that's all that I can share. We can discuss. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Insinyur Haji Gusti Ardiansah, Master of Science, for the excellent presentation today. And now we are moving to the discussion time. We invite all participants to press the raise hand button to deliver your question directly to the keynote speaker, or write your question in the comment column in Zoom meeting and also in YouTube live streaming. And the committee will choose your question to be read by me. Okay. Is there any question from the participants? Okay. While waiting for the participant, Professor Gusti Ardiansah, let me ask you something about what I'm curious about. As you explained that West Kalimantan is rich of resources from our sea and then our river and our forest. We have a tropical rainforest in West Kalimantan, and we also have a pit soil, which is as our characteristics as well as our challenges in developing developing herbal product. But the result from the product from the research by the university, the information does not reach by the public. Public don't know, but the research from the university. So how do you think the researchers and the university deal with this problem to educate our society and our public? Thank you.
Well, I think I'm agree with that from that Philippine associate professor Luis. Yeah? I think this is a very tough question, but the answer is I'm agree with her. It's supposed to be collaboration. You know, like foresters. What we can do, we are not the doctor. We are not the doctors. See, we know the trees, doctors. We know where the location. We know the hydrology, but we do not know about the disease or the active compound. We need to work together, I think, with the faculty of forestry and faculty of doctor or chemistry or pharmacy. You know, like sometimes we have a problem in West Kalimantan. We know the benefit of kratom. You know kratom? Kratom from West, from Kapasulu, yeah? Even the governor, there is an economic benefit. But as you know, the BNPT declare it is drugs cannot commercially. And I think in terms of bioeconomy, we need to solve the problem. When you have the economic beneficiary to you, also we don't need to think money, but we need also to think the conservation in the upstream. So in here, we need to work together. That is the answer. Since you don't collaborate, I think I'm agree with you that less socialization to the people, even as you know, our West Kalimantan people, almost like 5 million people. Do you think they know about this plan? I don't think so. Even the students in elementary school, in senior high school, we need to socialize them with local wisdom from our ancestors, from our grandma, grandpa. If we need more curriculum, local curriculum in education, so our students, our young generation will appreciate. I think this is the challenge. And I'm very interested in what, again, from the Philippine professor, how medicine doctoral and doctoral or maaf, dukun, jamu-jamuan can work together. You see, share information. I know that when we have a very that is can work for minor illness, yeah, but for major serious, that is our challenge. I think now we need to get back again to the upstreams. I mean, we can like the challenge of what we have faced the last 2 years in COVID. I think many traditional plan now people looking for alternative. As you know, but I believe COVID is made by man, made by okay, very expert pharmacologists. But I'm sure we have expert best pharmacologists who have a good things for the benefit of the prosperity of the people. Yeah, I think that I can say the question.
Thank you, Professor Gusti Ardiansa. Yeah, maybe the collaboration is our homework in our nation and also in worldwide, because we come if we come together, maybe we can solve this problem together. And then maybe Mr. Isanul Arif from our lecturer of Academy Pharmacy YARSI Pontianak.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Isanul Arif, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Budina. Actually, my question is about kratom, but Prof. Gusti already explained about the dilemma about the economic potential and about the restriction from BNN about the psychotropical effect of the kratom. But in it especially Tanjung Pura University already give some advice to BNN, or maybe from our governor as the to make some to change the restriction from BNN, so our local citizen still export by under the BNN pengawasan BNN gitu, Pak. That's about my question.
Yeah, I think, thank you, Isha. I think, again, we need collaboration. For University of Tanjung Pura, have various pro and contra also. You see, but what we need is we are not talking about pro and contra. In bioeconomy scheme, we need to see more detail in terms of economic benefit, social benefit, and also environment benefit. As you see, in our structural government Indonesia, ban and contra, but remember the health agency, the health agency, the minister of agriculture, the minister of forestry, no, not even the governor, not contra with that. That's why we need to sit together again. We need to have a national focus discussion group regarding Kratom because in I think around 5 months ago I went to Brazil. You see, I went to Brazil. In Latin America, yeah, Kratom, or even in United States, Kratom is become the cure for the drug uh, uh, for the patient of uh, from what do we call ketergantungan dengan apa yang ngetop ini drugnya
Drug
lupa aku
addiction, Prof.
namanya.
Drug
Iya,
addiction.
drug addiction namanya itu nama yang lebih berat itu yang dilarang oleh pemerintah Amerika. Jadi kratom ini yang sudah dijual ke sana itu jadi obat. Nah, jadi orang lebih senang mengkonsumsi kratom supaya mengurangi addiction terhadap drug yang mahal yang di Amerika sana, yang di Meksiko, Amerika Latin. Nah, ini seharusnya termasuk negara kita juga harus, our country need to be more specified when there is the benefit, like ganja also. Ganja have positive as a cure also in some part. But what we need is we have to get the social benefit because when we are talking about kratom is not good only for the leaf, but also for the wood. The wood is good for very fancy wood. When you make table, when you make chair or for doors, it's very good, fancy wood. So it's good for to rehabilitate environment. When you have a land after illegal mining, when you see the landscape is destruction, you can plant kratom there. It's good. So kratom is not good for only the medicine as a medicine plant, but also for the environment. That's why we need to talk together. We need the output is to make regulation to support this country. You can mention it. Is there any drug kratom addiction in West Kalimantan? No. Why? Ban and prohibited this. This is not fair. That's why we need to make a very good academic writing. We can send it to our president to make a decision. This is for the sake of the prosperity of the people. This is bioeconomy. When we are talking about bioeconomy, we are not talking about the upstream, but also the downstream and the benefit not only for the people, but also for the environment. We can reduce the climate action also. I think it's very good question, Isha, and hopefully we have homework. I think maybe next time we have YARSI, pharmacy expert, we are sit down together with the faculty of forestry, and then even we can make a good focus discussion group where we invite all stakeholders that is in connection and very significant interested in this our matter. I think that is my answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Istanul Arif, for the question, and thank you very much for Professor Dr. Gusti Ardiansa for the answer. And then I do agree about thinking about the collaborating from several fields like BNN, also economic side and health side to evaluate the possibility of our local wisdom keraton is being used as one of the therapies for drug dependence, such as methadone. As we know that methadone is one of the therapies for drug dependence, and this is very useful, and maybe keraton will be the next therapies for that dependence. Thank you very much, Professor. And then we are moving to Mr. Ade Ferdinand, Master of Science. If you want to deliver your question directly, please, take your time, Mr. Ade.
Thank you, Miss Dina. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Salam. Kabar Pak Ade?
Alhamdulillah baik. Nah, jadi campur-campur ya Pak. Pertanyaannya pertama, I not to question, but I hope Prof have to Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak to rilis atau mewujudkan sesuai dengan tema applicable dan marketable research ini dalam suatu bentuk. Pertama, satu adalah collaboration with UKM and Philippines.
Yes.
For research. Two, and then to application Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak Future dapat terwujud klinik herbal. Karena tadi dari awal ataupun upstream dan downstreamnya telah dijelaskan bahwa kekayaan alam research for mangrove or hutan Kalimantan lumayan banyak. Saya harapkan Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak dapat terwujud salah satu bentuk aplikasinya untuk masyarakat luas, yaitu pengobatan atau menjadikan Akademi Farmasi YARSI Pontianak ini salah satu tambahannya adalah klinik dengan pengobatan dari herbal tadi. Saya rasa sekian, terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Okay, let me respond. I think this is a very good idea. I appreciate that we have a professor from Malaysia and also from the Philippines. I think in short term, we need to concrete this clinic herbal. I think the model can be built in pharmacy. I think we need to do some maybe focus discussion, and also we need to show to the society, to the community, that Akademi Farmasi, I think this is one output from this conference. Yeah? And yeah, not only from that medical plan that is proven by that scientific journal, we can promote in term to the state of, in quote, market. But also that from the kratom also, I think we need to ask. I don't know that in Malaysia or in Philippines, do they ban kratom also? But we can talk in FGD in more dispersed and wide stakeholder again. We are looking for others in Asia, yeah. But as far as I know, the Thailand already not ban this kratom because they know the potential economy for export in USA. And hopefully, from what Ade said, that clinic of herbal in pharmacy, I think we can start, like what happened, Ade, if you go to the gallery Hasil Hutan, gallery forest product, in kantor in pendopo gubernur ya. Not only they have some kelulut, honey, but also they have some as you know the what do we call yang lagi ngetop ini potongan-potongan apa yang direndam air panas itu untuk kanker yang didapat di Kalteng itu apa namanya bajaka ya bajaka. Nah we need to what do we call in parallel way. Okay, in herbal things, in clinics, or at least in pre-clinics, we are already proven that this medical plan can be used for the cure of this illness. Yeah, but we need to get higher support if it is in connection with major illness, serious illness. We need to collaborate with our doctor here, medical doctor. But for minor illness, I think like jamu-jamuan, yeah, we can start from that. Yeah, hopefully there will be a gallery also, a gallery in pharmacy. Yeah, I think there's a very concrete way in the short term. But in the long term, we need to what Professor Mary Lou said, Fiangan, we need to learn from China also how they can combine medicine, doctoral and medicine sinsang segala macam ya, and is very balanced with the cure of the illness. Yeah, I support that, Pak Ade. Yeah, I think we can talk concrete it later in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Ms. Dina.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ade Ferdinand, for the question. And we still waiting for the participant to send us your questions. Is there any question from the participant? Okay, not yet a question from participant, but Professor Gustiardiansa, talking about the herbal clinics.
Yes.
Yeah, talking about the herbal clinic, I will give you an issue that come to our country and also worldwide, that the quantity and the quality of safety and efficacy, that as we know that when we talk about a medicine, although it is herbal or a scientific medicine, we have to talk about the safety and efficacy of this medicine. So the safety and the efficacy medicine data of the traditional medicine are far from sufficient to meet the criteria needed to support to the use to our population, our society, or also to use worldwide. The reason for the lack of research data due not only to healthcare policies, but also the lack of adequate or accepted research methodology for evaluating traditional medicine, as we talked about before to Professor Mary Luz from Philippines. So what do you think about that? What do you think about the lack of sufficient safety and efficacy data, and also the research methodology to evaluating the traditional medicine?
Yeah, it is a very tough question. See, I think this is become our challenge, but the solution need to be looked for. For short term, as you know, we have what do we call is the pendekatan paradigm solution. Now, from in my experience, in religious experience, according to hadith, you see, part of hadith, Nabi Muhammad said that we know Haba Sauda. Haba Sauda can cure any illness, any disease, except death. This pendekatan, what do we call pendekatan? It is we can use this way to make sure that society beside the scientific base, there is a challenge as a pharmacologist or pharmacist to prove that what that Hadi said, that what the uh, uh, active substance compound in that uh, in that medicine or in that plant. That is the challenge of that scientific. So we need to prove what moderator said, everything, efficacy in the scientific way. That's why from here, as far as I know, not only from the potential information, knowledge, but also the in vitro, the in vivo, and preclinical step that we need to do. When it's become very serious matter, we need to invite other stakeholders when it become serious illness matter. So we need to have that step, yeah, that methodology. Otherwise, until that we can get any methodology to this. And of course, one thing, the budgeting for conducting this is needed. We can get this budgeting especially from, there are big company, pharmacology company, they have that CSR, corporate social responsibility, or they also have budgeting for research, like Sawit, yeah, Association Sawit, they give 2% for research, and we can get this budget to do what to answer your question, efficacy, preferability, safety. So we come to the methodology not only from a religious aspect, social aspect, even economic aspect. I think we have to have a team, like a team in United States, in United Nations, we have that forum expert in terms of climate change. And we also need to have forum expert in terms of this, what we are talking today, so we can have access not only for the, we call it the organization, but also from the methodology and also from the budgeting. And here the government, our leadership, not only from leadership in that university, but also from the government like Governor Bupati should back this. So what is become our question, our challenge can be overcome from this collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor, for your answer. And maybe after this pandemic, after pandemic become endemic, our government will choose the health issue as one of the important thing to come up to this to our maybe health policies to make our herbal product become more famous.
Yeah. It's a very good lesson learned. Yeah, I'm agree with that.
Thank you very much, Professor. And then maybe let's give a round of applause once again to Professor Dr. Gusti Hardiansa, Master of Science, for a very excellent presentation and explanation today. And now we will hold a photo session for the keynote speaker and also all the participants. And then welcome to take a position on camera. Operator, I will count 3, 2, 1 to take a picture. Okay, ready? On 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, thank you very much, Professor. We continue for the symbolic award. Yeah. We continue for the symbolic awarding of an e-certificate from the Director of Academy Pharmacy, YARSI Pontianak. So please welcome Ms. Adisti Karisma Justisia, Master of Science.
Oke, halo Prof.
Halo, Assalamualaikum. Sehat.
Waalaikumsalam Prof. It's a long time to see you.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to thank you for your willingness to be a speaker today, Prof. And please accept this certificate from us. Kami berharap Profesor selalu sehat dan sukses selalu.
Amin, amin. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Ms. Aristi Karisma Justicia, Master of Science, and give a round of applause to our three keynote speaker, Mr. Professor Gusti Ardiansa, Master of Science, Ms. Associate Professor Dr. Nuraini Talib, and Ms. Associate Professor Mary Lutfiangan, Master of Science. Thank you very, very much for sharing your expertise in this session. What an excellent presentation from our keynote speakers. Now we invite you join this conference until the end, and then we are moving to the closing ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored to have you with us today for the first Academy Farmasi YARSI Pontianak International Conference on Pharmacy Future Perspective in the Transformation of Applicable and Marketable Research-Based Herbal Product. Excellencies, distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very positive and productive and inspiring time together today, and this event is about to come to very end. I hope you found the presentation of this conference to be informative and helpful for you. And now we will close the conference, and we invite once again our keynote speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Nuraini Talib, and then Associate Professor Mary Cruz Fiangan, and Professor Dr. Gusti Ardiansa, and the Director of Academy Farmasi YARSI Pontianak, Ms. Adisti Karisma Justicia, Master of Science. Thank you once again to Academy Farmasi YARSI Pontianak for making this event successful. Thank you PD PAVI West Kalimantan Barat to make this happen, and thank you all the keynote speaker. And also all the committee and the entire academic of Academy Farmasi YARSI Pontianak, and also all the participants. Now I will leave you with a quote by Frederick Sanger. Scientific research is one of the most exciting and rewarding of occupations. Let us be guided by all the things we learned that we heard throughout the conference and be able to see and influence in our future. Thank you very much. With rolling means, please forgive us for our shortcoming. Till we meet again, perhaps at the next conference of the next Academy Farmasi YARSI International Conference. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Prof. Gusti.
Buat klinik herbal.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ade.
Amit, makasih.
Okay, thank you very much. I will remind all the participants, don't forget to open the link of presentation that have been shared in chat. That have been sent in chat column, and then there is a link for presency. And also in live streaming on Academy Farmasi YARSI Pontianak official YouTube channel. Thank you very much for your coming virtual today, and I'll see you for the next conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you.